What's going on, guys? It's been a while. Juan back here today with a new video. It's not been that long of a while, but I've had so much consistency on YouTube over the last little while, so even when I take 1 or 2 weeks off, it feels a little long, but happy to be here with you guys, and as always, excited to talk about more sports creative content. Today's video is going to be a little bit more rambly, a little bit more me just putting my thoughts out here, just talking about a topic that I really believe in, that has kind of become something I look towards every time I get frustrated where I am in my career, or at times where I think I might be getting stagnant or I'm not moving fast enough. And I think it truly is a topic of conversation that I want all creatives of all niches to hear. It's obviously, my brand is very aligned with sports filmmaking and sports content creation, but I think the topic that I'm going to talk about today really fits into any creative niche, because I think, we live in a world where we are always in the rush for instant gratification, and we're always in the rush to get to the finish line for whatever we're doing. And I think in all creative niches, we always just have that, get this video out, and then it's the next video after that and the next video after that. But we always forget to enjoy the experience. And I think this is applicable to any creative niche, whether you do sports, fashion, or even if you're a photographer or a graphic designer. And the thing I want to talk about today specifically is not rushing the process and trusting the process. And this is obviously a very cliche and overdone saying, especially in sports, trust the process, everything happens for a reason. But I've experienced so much in my career, especially over the last 3 years specifically, that have really opened my eyes to enjoying where you're at in the moment and not rushing to get to the finish line. I feel like we get so caught up in the next big opportunity or the next big project that a lot of people, including myself, kind of forget that, you have to enjoy where you're at, and you can learn so much from where you're at in your career, whether you're just starting off, whether, you're 5-6 years deep like I am, or whether you've been doing this for 10 plus years. I think that at the end of the day, trusting the process and not rushing the process is one of the best things you can do for not just your creative growth, but I think also your mental health and your longevity in this career path. I really do just want to get in the weeds of what I mean by not rushing the process. And this kind of comes from conversations I've had over the last few months with a lot of new and younger creatives in the sports scene that are, one of the most common questions I get asked is, how did you get your job with the NHL? How did you get your opportunities in the past with the Leafs and the Argos and the Raptors? How did you get your opportunities in pro sport? And I think those are all really natural questions to ask. Everyone obviously looks at people who, you think quote unquote have made it. And for the record, I don't think I've made it at all. I think I'm making good progress in my career. I think I'm in a really good spot for where I am at 26 years old and getting a full-time job, 3 years out of university. I think I'm doing really well. I don't necessarily think I've made it, but when I was a year into this, 2 years into this, I had that same mentality of wanting to ask those questions and wanting to get to, these higher levels of creative jobs and opportunities, working with professional leagues, working professional teams. I think when we all start working in this, sports creative type deal, we always want to figure out, how can I shoot the NBA? How can I shoot the NFL? How can I create for pro athletes? Kind of like being an athlete yourself. When you start playing sports and when you grow as an athlete, you always are looking towards, how can I make it to the next step? How can I go from, junior to pro, or how can I go from college to pro? There's always that kind of ladder you have to climb, and you're always looking for ways to do it. And in a lot of these conversations that I'm having with these younger creatives, a lot of people are really just focusing on, how can I get there? How can I get to this outcome? And I really do think when you feel this way, it's really great, because it shows you have the aspiration and the drive to do something bigger than where you're at. And I think we should all have high expectations for ourselves and have these really big aspirations and goals in our career, because if you don't have them, then why are you doing it anyways? You know what I mean? So I think it is really important to have those aspirations, but at the same time, I think a lot of the people that I'm talking to and trying to help through, navigating this part of their career, I feel like a lot of people lose the sight of where they are right now and the advantages of, the team they might be working with or the level of sport they might be working at, and kind of, just get this tunnel vision of like, I want to work for the NBA or the NHL or bust. I think that's great, but I think we also got to, remember that this is a process. Growing as a creative, whether you do video, whether you do photo, whether you're a writer, It's all a process. You're not going to make it to the NBA after a year. And that's not me putting people down. That's not me being negative. I'm being a realist, and I'm going to just tell the blunt truth. Like, if you started shooting sports 2 months ago, you can't expect to then get the call up to go and shoot an NFL game after just a few months. It doesn't work that way. Again, I really relate content creation to athletics. If you just started playing football yesterday off the street, you're not going to go to the NFL in a month. Like, NFL players train their whole lives through childhood, through, adolescence, high school football, college football. There's a route you have to take in order to even, be considered to potentially get drafted and play in the NFL. And through content creation, I think it's a very similar path, in the sense of, like, when you're starting off and you're shooting, your local school basketball game or your local football games, and, eventually college, going through that progression path is really important, because it allows you to grow and enhance your skills and ply your trade and build your portfolio, just like an athlete practicing every day on the field allows them to get better. There are just these things that we have to go through as creatives and humans to gradually progress. And I really do think so many people are obviously influenced by social media. You see so many people having the job that you want to have one day, and you're just trying to figure out whatever it takes to get there. And what I want to tell you right now is that I know I just said that it's not going to happen overnight, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I also want to tell you guys, like, kind of how I said at the beginning of this whole spiel, like, trust the process, but don't rush the process. I'm talking a lot, so I'm going to keep hydrating here and there. While I was planning and trying to figure out how I wanted to talk about this topic, there was a Kobe Bryant quote from a Jay Shetty podcast that I stumbled across on, and I'll play it on screen here for you guys in a second, but I think it really just states what I'm trying to put out there, is that at the end of the day, the finish line doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's figuring out how to get to the finish line that actually matters. It's about actually understanding and learning from how to get from A to B, and not actually just what's at B. That's the thing you should focus on.
How did you get that mentality of just being like, I need to get over this. Like, I need to get over myself.
Trial and error. You grow up and you make game-winning shots, and it's awesome. You come back the next day and miss a game-winning shot, and it's misery. And then the next day comes and you're back playing again, and you understand that life has this cyclical nature where it's, what you do on Monday is fantastic, but then Tuesday is a bad day. But guess what? There's Wednesday. Yeah. So are we just supposed to live our lives like this the whole time? Versus just staying like this and understanding that it's really just a journey of evolution every day. It's just constant improvement, constant curiosity, constantly getting better. The results don't really matter. It's the figuring out that matters.
Like Kobe says, it's the figuring out that matters. It's literally the journey and not the destination. When you become fixated on the destination, everything will just go through your vision like a blur, and you won't take the time to notice what you actually can get from the journey. And I think that applies not just to having the blinders on and only seeing the objective of working for a pro team, but I think when it comes to actually learning the skills of being a creative, the process is greater than the outcome. And I really, really love that idea. It's just another way of saying don't rush the process. So a lot of you guys are probably going to be at this point and saying, oh, that's really easy for you to say. You're already working this really cool job. You've already made it to the pro leagues. You're creating content at the highest level. Yes, that's true. I am. But it took me almost, I think, over 5 years to get to this point in my career. And it was not an easy one. There were a lot of ups and there were a lot of downs, and I just haven't had the opportunity to talk about those. And I would love to open up more about that in the future, but the reality of the situation is, I'm telling you guys from experience, this thing is a process. It takes a long time. There are levels to working in the sports creative industry that you have to go through no matter who you are. I started this whole content creation video journey back in, late 2016, early 2017, going into my second year of university. For those who don't know me, I went to university here in Toronto. I attended Ryerson, or TMU as it's called now, Toronto Metropolitan University's sport media program. And from there, I kind of realized and, learned that I had a love for storytelling and video content. So 2017, we fast forward now to 2024. That's 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22, 23, 24. That's almost 7 years. So I thought originally it was like 5 years. That is 7 years of working at my craft in order to get where I am today with my full-time job with the NHL and having had all the experiences with working with MLSE, TSN, freelancing my way for a few years. 7 years of applying my trade to get to this point. That's nearly a decade. It took me, out of those 7 years, I've been with the NHL now this is my third year with the NHL. It took me approximately like 5 or 6 years to even get to this point. One really big thing to keep in mind is that the growth in this career path is very, very gradual. Obviously, there are outliers, like people can blow up overnight on social media, and nepotism is definitely a thing in any industry. But it really, for me, was me plying my trade over 7 years, practicing shooting sports as much as I could whenever I could. It was me networking and making my own connections and putting my best foot forward and attending networking events. The way I got here was by pure patience and trusting the process and not rushing it. And when I look back at everything I've done, I'm really glad I went through that, because I've learned so much about how to actually tell stories. I've learned so much about how to network and connect with people and find opportunities. And I think these are skills that you will learn over the time while you're, shooting those lower levels of sport, whether it's high school, college, or even rec league sports. And I also want to say that when you're at these beginner stages of your creative career, there are a lot of advantages you have that you won't get at the quote unquote pro level. For some context, again, for those who don't know me, my career started off shooting university sports. I got very lucky that I had the opportunity to work with Ryerson Athletics, now TMU Bold Athletics. I got the opportunity to be a content producer and a video producer for the athletic department. And it was an amazing experience where I learned so much. But looking back at it now, I had so much more creative freedom and opportunity to do the projects I wanted to do at that level back when I was in university versus where I am now with the NHL. It's a very drastic change in the amount of freedom I have to pitch projects, to work with directly with the athletes, and also access at events in games. When you get to these high levels of sport, whether it's a Big Four league or any kind of high level sports, access is really limited. You can't just go along the boards at an NHL game and just shoot. You can't just go and sit courtside at an NBA court, because that's where you've always shot from. There is higher powers at play here. There is a process in these places that you want to shoot at these higher levels that you just don't have to deal with at the college, high school, or even like rec league level. Like when you are starting off, you are in a gold mine of opportunity, of being able to shoot where you want, of having nearly unlimited access to a certain degree. Like the amount of freedom I had when I was at Ryerson compared to where I am now is night and day. And, I do get great access where I am now with the NHL, but it's not the same. I have to go through a lot of hoops and a lot of people to make things happen. While when I was in university, it was very easy just to say, okay, I'm going to go there and get this shot because I know I can. So for those people who are shooting sports at the high school or college level and have been given good access and that are trusted by your, sports information director or your creative department, make sure you take advantage of that. Take advantage of shooting from wherever you want. Take advantage of building relationships directly with the teams and the coaches, because you won't have that at one point and you'll start missing it. And this is exactly why I'm saying you shouldn't rush the process. You can learn so much with all the access and the creative freedom that you're given at these early stages of your creative career in the sports side of things. You can create almost anything you want, whether it's, mixtape style videos, documentaries, short films. You have the ability to pursue them at a much easier rate and a much easier access level than you ever will be when you get to, the MLB, NFL, NBA. You got to go through a lot of hoops there. So take advantage of it, what you have now. Take advantage of the openness that these organizations you're currently working with will be giving you. That's a really big reason why I wanted to make this video and tell you not to rush the process. Trust me, I would love to go back to TMU and take advantage of that way more than I actually did. And I think when I was there, I did take proper advantage of it, but make sure that you're not just looking ahead to what's next. Focus on what's in front of you. Enjoy what you're making and do everything you can to soak up every single little bit of access, creative freedom in these spaces before you go ahead and make that next move. Because the more you're able to build your skill set early on, the better suited you'll be and the more ready you'll be when those big opportunities come your way. And I'm going to say it right now, working all those jobs in university, working 3 jobs while, doing my thesis project was hugely formative for me in terms of my work ethic, in terms of my ability to work efficiently, in terms of my ability to turn work over and communicate with a team and meet deadlines. All skills that no one really talks about that I learned throughout that process. So even though what I just talked about had nothing to do with actually picking up a camera and shooting sports, I learned a lot of skills that have helped me become successful and have helped me thrive at the level I'm at now. So to those people out there who are stressed out because they've been shooting sports for less than a year or 1 to 2 years or even 1 to 3 years, take a deep breath, man. Like, you're just getting started. I'm also just getting started. I know I said I've been at this for 7 years, but like, there are people who've been doing this for like 15, 20 plus years. I'm still 26 years old, but I'm still young. I'm still just getting started. I am in rooms with people who have been doing this their whole lives, and I'm just getting into like my mid or just getting into like my late 20s here. If you're just getting started, if you're in high school, if you're in college and you've only been doing this for a few years and you're already chomping at the bit and you're like, I want to move on now. I think I'm ready to move on. Take a deep breath and look around you and ask yourself, what can I do right now at this level to get better that I haven't done already? What can I do right now to get better for tomorrow? And I think you're going to learn a lot more through that process, and you're also going to stress yourself out less. Opportunities will come and go. If you're proactive, if you're communicating to people what you do, what you want to do, if you're networking, if you're putting your work out there, if you're doing everything I stress out in pretty much all of my videos, you will find these opportunities. I'm a living, breathing example of it. So just take a deep breath. Don't worry so much about the outcome. Don't worry so much about the destination. Trust the process. But also don't rush the process. Everything happens for a reason. Let it happen, and just enjoy where you're at. Take advantage of where you're at, and you will see so much growth through enjoying the process and trusting the process and not rushing it. I think I'm going to wrap up this video now. I think I've been rambling here for almost 45 minutes. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys took something away from this video. I just kind of wanted to get this off my chest and put these thoughts out there and hopefully inspire a few of you guys and kind of help you guys understand the concept of not rushing this and enjoying every step of the journey. If you're working in sports right now, like, congrats to you. This is an awesome field to be in as a creative. I absolutely fucking love what I do day in and day out, and it's because I've just committed to the process and committed to wanting to find a career in this path. And if you're in this situation, I really hope you guys embrace it. I really hope you guys enjoy every second of it as much as I did. If you guys have any questions about what I talked about today, please consider leaving a comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys made it this far, leave me a like. And also, if you guys are new here, hit subscribe if you guys want. I'm really excited for more videos to come. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time. I feel like I say peace at the end of the video. See you guys later. I'm changing it up here. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, guys.